Peace. Political education and civilization enrichment. This is the class that you are clicked into, that you have decided to do the knowledge to. Title, of course, devised by Day Sun. It's kind of a rainy day out here, so I'm not so sure if everyone is gonna come tonight. You know, I'm horrible at all this performance stuff. But I had a little verse about song about the gods, and I was on, and we're supposed to do a video here today, but it seems like it's rainy, so it's not gonna happen. But I'm here regardless to whom or what. Okay, so this is, as I always say, the ending to my week. A very long week, a very interesting week, where I'm in the middle of setting new goals and massively behind on every single project that needs to get done. I keep reminding myself that if I do have these projects to do, then that means that that's a blessing too. You know? I won't speak on it too much, but I had like a moment. King Kamal knows what I'm talking about. I had a moment where I failed at something, and I realized I failed at it because I didn't really want to do it. But I realized as I was failing, while I was failing doing it, I took my own advice, my own builds, my own understanding I share, and have the mettle, METTLE, to be aware in the moment that I was messing up. And then I realized that it's just not I wasn't embracing it the way I should embrace it, because the way I would use it, the particular form, this particular reality, wasn't the way anybody else would. I didn't figure this out till later. Let me see if I get some AC. regardless of what. Okay, here. No. Okay. So who is here? Let me know. Anyone that ever comes into this digital cipher of the classroom, I have a couple of things to build on, but I'd like some interaction when I build with them. If not, though, you can always email me. I was running around here trying to look for the remote, though. All of a sudden, it got real hot, though. That's strange. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to expound on these thoughts and where they come from, but the curriculum of a teacher, of any teacher at a law school in Mecca, any teacher that is teaching the populace, any teacher that is teaching supreme math, alphabet, this knowledge of self that we teach, it should not reside just in what you know to be right and exact, but it also must reside in the history that got us here to this point. So even if there are things that are included that you do not agree with, but happened in the history of this nation, happened throughout that time, it's important that get put in there. You know, I'm gonna expound on that again. You know, I think it's important now that we look at these. We look at this summer. Peace to Aaron. Peace to Frank. Peace. That we look at the summer. You know, all of these things that we have brought to fruition. What have we brought to fruition? Have we been content with it? Have they been proper? Have they been right and exact? Today's mathematics is wisdom, culture, all being born to equality. And to me, the alphabet, X, unknown, is the most important place to put yourself. The ability for the known to put themselves in the unknown is just to be comfortable in what is going to be created. That's where you are. That's where your mindset is. What will be created, what hasn't been created, what will be. This is the place of comfort, right? Most people are not comfortable, right? But the wisdom of your culture, the way of your culture, is in that equality, this balance between known and unknown. You know what I mean? Peace of the earth. All right, be more 77. Peace. Okay. Any questions? Any questions about anything? People think that when I say any questions, I really do mean any questions. You know what I'm saying? Stephen Moore. I'm not familiar with everyone here. Stephen Moore. Anybody that has any questions on anything, let me know. Um, Original Man author. Peace, God. All right. Now we know who you are. Anyone have any questions about anything, please let me know. You know, I think that a lot of people always get upset that there aren't, like they want the 5% to be more popular. They want everybody to have this. But I feel like they just want their team to be bigger. You know, you could save yourself some losing if you don't like the Mets. You know what I'm saying? If you don't like the Knicks or anything like that. But you can't save yourself from difficulties by teaching a million people sloppily and getting a whole bunch of students. You know what I'm saying? I'll say something, Harmony, that being a Met fan all my life, though, has given me resilience, fortitude. You know what I'm saying? When I got knowledge of self, though, it was at the end of a peak. You know what I mean? Dark Kim used to say this all the time to me. And, people hear him say it now and stuff. But he was saying it back then. You know what I mean? He was saying it back then. You know? Peace to Born Raheem. Peace. He was saying it back then. He was saying it around when I got a couple of years after I started to teach here. I got knowledge of self in 1999. I started teaching 2000. So I had the knowledge of self in a little less than a year. About 11 months later, I'm teaching this class that is still going on. And so we were the last step of era. It seems so more now because so many of those elders return to the essence, and one of those things is that, like, people used to always complain we all saw the handwriting on the wall the way it would be, and maybe because I come from that music background a little differently, right? Not making the music at the time, but understanding music, being right in front of it, that I knew that a lot of the people that were actually in it, though, were really in it because it was popular, because it was cool, it was all these things, and that they wouldn't last anyway. And then you merge it with this mentality that I had, that me and Day Sun had as writers, worldly writers. And when I mean worldly, I don't mean through just space, but also time. Our goal was always to write things that would go beyond time and space. You know what I'm saying? Right? And it's a good question, Original Man Author. I definitely will break that down. And teach beyond time and space. Write something that that is valuable beyond time and space, and I'm thinking about that a lot because I'm working on editing my next book, which is something I wrote with that mentality. Who knows if it's of any use though, but I certainly wrote it with that mentality 100%. And So it didn't really matter if people liked it in this day and time. You know, um, all that mattered was, if it stood the test of time, that it was going to be valuable to people beyond. So when everybody used to complain that, listen, it's not going to be like that anymore. It's not that many 5%ers left. The gods, they're not around anymore. There's not enough. None of that really concerned me. I was okay with, and I was okay with this concept of that you could teach people and go out there and also offer things, and nobody gets the shit. Nobody understands it. So this is something that I think is privy to today's degree in the alphabet as well, the unknown. Our main function is as 5%ers. We go out, we teach the world. That's the main way that we share it, is by teaching. But that's not really the main way that we share it, though. That's the easiest way that we share it. I'll say that again. If we are true living gods, earths, and righteous people, and we go out there and we teach, then we are doing it. That's the easiest thing to do, even though that's extremely hard and not everyone does it well. I'm not saying that it's always going to come across bougie if I say that, because I know how to teach. But not everybody can teach. But all of us are supposed to create things that reveal the teaching, our creations, our realities. And that's a stepping into the unknown. And that's what I mean about today's degree. That's the way of our culture, to be able to step into the unknown and create what will be known as we decide it. I say this a lot. I've been saying this for years. He does not know that he is my uncle. It's an interesting question, right? A lot of people haven't been around the elders and stuff, especially online, right? Peace to the God. Peace to God, Salim. A lot of people haven't been around the elders here, and a lot of them that passed away. But sometimes, I'm not going to mention who, sometimes they get upset when they meet actual, Africans from Africa that are trying to get the knowledge, you know what I'm saying? And they're like, how come you left us over here and this and that? And they really have these issues that I don't know why you would blame them, because even though, let's say I'm from a Puerto Rican background, even though I'm not technically an immigrant, because, right, they made Puerto Ricans a citizen, my people will still be migrants, you know what I mean? So we see a different picture anyway, right, of coming here. So we have to migrate here. So we see it differently. Excuse me. But when it says he does not know that he is my uncle, it means that we end up here and no one knows each other. You know what I'm saying? The people that are related to you, that might be just a little bit distant from you, don't know who you are, don't know who they are. You know what I'm saying? So it's basically a degree to show you the idea that people don't have a knowledge of themselves. You know what I mean? And where the so-called original man ends up that doesn't have a knowledge of self, they end up in the land where people also don't know. And the people that were left behind also don't know what has happened. So it's basically a degree to me that fortifies the ignorance. Not the stupidity, but the ignorance. We could argue other degrees that could might argue a stupidity or arrogance or naivety. I was always taught that the uncle was the original people here, and you just get piled and piled upon each other. I'm reading this interesting book. I just started it, and I collect a lot of books, and I didn't realize what this book was. But I read trying to find out the original name. There's a famous book called "Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee" by D. Brown. Um, it's famous. It's written in 1970, and it's a long book, powerful book. It's almost 500 pages, and any original people, especially us indigenous, like us that label as the 2 million Indians, we would feel it heavily. And I started to read this book. It's a new book. It's called The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee by David Truer. And I had a whole collection. I'm going through what books to read and stuff, and I started to read that one because I haven't read about uh, Native American history in a while, and I love reading about indigenous histories. And I wanted to read another one. And I had another one I was reading, but I was reading it slow. You know what I'm saying? So I said, let me give another one a shot. Even though when it comes to reading books, I'm a finisher. Unless the book is totally bullshit, I'm a finisher. Because I have so many more books than I've ever had in my life. It just takes a little long to finish if it's a tough read, or a slow read, I should say. It's not really a tough read, the book I was having trouble with. It's a slow read. For some reason, I don't know why. But this book is actually, I found out that David Truer is actually indigenous himself. And his book is about the history from Wounded Knee, that massacre at Wounded Knee, where they killed men, women, and children, hundreds of men, women, and children. But from that point on to today, to show that the indigenous still survive, they thrive, and what they're dealing with, that their story. And I felt it was an important history because I always talk about histories that are left in gaps. We always talk about who's the original man. We get the books, African Origin of Civilization, the Diop books, and we don't even do with the Sertima books, African Origin books, African Presence books by Sertima. But we don't even do what Sertima suggested, and that was like to fill all these other gaps, in scholarship. The scholarship is based on questions, the missing questions, and to find those answers, And I just thought that was it's on my mind now. The Heartbeat of Wounded Knee is probably it's most likely what I'm going to read when I leave, unless I get tired. You guys will laugh at what I read when I'm tired, though. I've been experimenting with other books I've never read before, and reading those as well, But illiterate certainly means ignorant. Yes, yes, yes. Harmony, you probably have this book. You know what I'm saying? Because I got this book quite a while ago. You know? Okay. The original book I was talking about was Bury My Heart at Wounded Knee. Okay. All right. D is D something. Okay. That's the old book. 1970 is the date of that book. The new book I'm talking about is The Heartbeat. Let's see if I spelled that last name correctly. Be sure I botched that up. Okay, I'm missing an E. Right. Now that this book is I think it's 2020. Let me see. I'll open it myself. Let's see where the copyright is. I'm pretty sure this book is 2019. 2019. So you get an idea. But I just mentioned these books, so I mentioned these books because we're not really getting the stories of all of our people. We're getting a knowledge of self, and we're getting a knowledge of self about the perspectives of some people. You know what I'm saying? It's not enough to get the knowledge of self. Let's say if you're so-called African American, and then not get the knowledge of self of what it was about the indigenous, the Native Americans, of all the other tribes. Because at best, if you could really do this, you would know about the surrounding tribes in the same areas of where you were from. You know, all of this landscape. You know, it's all important, it's all vital. You know what I'm saying? Oh, Harmony, yeah, that's good. That's good. Over 1,000 pages. I wonder which one that one is. Not too many books. I can't tell you. You know what? I'll give you a loose count. Let's see. The amount of books I'm reading at the same time is happening. It's not. Let me see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Let's keep it later. I'll say I'm reading about, no, 17. Definitely reading that one. 17. Yeah. 17. 18. 18. Yeah. Definitely reading that one. Yeah, at least 18 books right now. No, not. I'm gonna say about 20 books I'm reading at the same time. I'm not even gonna say about the books that I start reading just to check them out because I'm a little I get curious. You know what I mean? And what I do is I I like to check them out. You know what I'm saying? But if they're worth finishing, I definitely finish them. I'm not even counting the books that I might be 100, 150 in, and I just didn't finish them. You know what I'm saying? But it's important when we're reading that we cover all different types of subject matter and material and styles. You know what I'm saying? So I do that. You know what I mean? So I've been stretching. So from the books that I love to read, the type of books that I love to read, to even books that I'm not good at reading. So I've even more. I've gotten back into the novels that I started reading. My brother told me that Lonesome Dove was a great novel, though. He didn't tell me that the novel's like 800 pages. So I'm like 100 in on that, and it's actually good. And I keep forgetting that I'm reading that. Sherlock Holmes. Well, no. You know what's funny? You say that, though. I am reading Sherlock Holmes right now too. I literally. That's crazy. I'm gonna tell you what I'm reading. Because if you have all the collected works of Sherlock Holmes, then you're reading a lot. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. How come I don't see it here? Where is it? I was just reading it. It should come up. Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, because if you're reading The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, that's about 340, 350 range. If you're reading all the works all together, though, they're going to be a lot more, But the main collection is about 350. I know I started to read it, so every now and then I read a story. I just started, though, so I've only read the first 4. there's about what 10, there's about 12 adventures, you know. So I read 3 of them though, you know. Yeah, so yes, that book, I don't know why it shows up on my, it doesn't show up in the app here on the laptop for some reason. That's weird, but it is showing up in the app. Yeah, it's it's like it's invisible. Yeah, so you're reading the complete Sherlock Holmes collection. I'm just reading the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes because if you ever do the research, though, the adventures are like the main first though, the first set. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you know, you're reading the whole thing, but they're very interesting. Very interesting. You know what I mean? Truth rules, peace. Who am I? Peace to the earth, wisdom infinite, peace. Um, yeah, I think I do have the complete as well as should have it. Yeah, I have the complete Sherlock Holmes as well. So yeah, my take on the mind and the brain. You know, um, I want to be succinct with it, but at the same time, I probably won't be able to be. You know, but the deeper products are the mind. What is created? Everything that is the mind. The brain is just that central storehouse, that physical storehouse that you can identify. You know, but the mind itself is the reality of the individual. You know, that'd be like the shortest, fastest way that I could say it. You know, and I think that what's interesting is that people have a difficulty with that when they should have less, though. You know, because even white folk are getting the idea. You know, um, there's so much more works on neuroscience and so much more works on other things that people are getting. You know, the idea of how to analyze this. You know, but I think that as we venture farther into transhumanism, we see the proofs that those scientists today, they do know the difference between the mind and the brain and how to manipulate all that, you know? Give me a moment here. The difference between a determined idea and an idea is the same thing as is saying, like, why say write your history in advance? You know what I mean? Instead of saying um, in a different, less arrogant way. You know what I'm saying? So like the determined idea literally means that it absolutely is intended to have some type of action. You know, and that's why it's a determined idea. You know? It's almost like saying that a certain idea is useless to even have. You know what I'm saying? Right. So the idea persisted, and Yakub would do anything and everything to encounter situations and draw up realities that would further solidify an insight, an understanding, and the tools of furtherance for that particular idea. Steadfast in it. That even if the idea wasn't going to manifest, he was going to find everything about it. And this line of reality continues and continues and continues. It's quite determined, right? So that's the determined idea. You know? So certainly there is a definite difference between the two. You know, certain definite difference between the two. You know, it's a mere idea. A mere idea isn't enough. You know, the determined idea means that at every waking turn, though, something is going to be supporting it. It's going to be an idea that's supported, that's looked into at all times. You know, we've all had determined ideas. right? Earth, you MC, you create. So even when you're not creating, for some reason, everything has the possibility and the ability to be part of that idea. The idea of expressing yourself in this particular way. So now everything is part of that determined idea. You know? It's a powerful thing, you know. You could have this determined idea, and I feel like the younger you are, the more potent that determined idea can be. But when these determined ideas are decided, they may not even be fleshed out of how they would come about. But that idea is going to be utilized regardless of what. I think what's interesting, and I'm thinking in my own personal experience, that even if you suffer through that determined idea, if if the idea is so grand to you, it's the determined reality attached to it never goes away. And it almost cannot be adjusted. It is possible that even Yakub realized it was a hellish idea, to say the least. But the idea was determined. He put so much into it that it could not be stopped. You know, it's interesting. You said that about the speed of thought can be measured. I was reading something about the speed of thought being measured. What was I reading at? Now, this is the problem with reading too many books at the same time. I cannot immediately recall where I was reading that. All right, let me open up. It could be with the books that I've already completed. You know, it's possible that I may have read something like that in The Grand Biocentric Design, How Life Creates Reality by Robert Lanza, the third book of biocentricism that he wrote. I'm not sure, but these are the books that I've been writing about that book. Not I read it already, but I've been writing about it. That may have been where I saw this concept, measuring the speed of thought. Or was it Original Man? This is gonna hit me when none of us are around. But when it comes to me, I am going to let you know why I read something about this, though. You know, right? And I think that the speed of thought could only be measured though if we knew where the thought was coming from. And then who's to say that the speed of thought though has to be adjusted for a thought that is thought? Even if you have the mind that it is coming from, what about its interaction with other thoughts, other minds? You know, this is interesting. Absolutely send it to you if I find where I was reading about that concept. Now I don't remember them saying that they figured it out though, but it was something that was pondered. You know, it's a great question. It's a great question, you know. But I would imagine that it is be much and has to be much more difficult than anything that we've ever thought of. Any idea would be a thought, you know. Any idea would be a thought. So a determined idea has to be something much more than a thought, because all ideas are thoughts. When you express an idea, that is a thought. It could be nothing else but an expressed thought. So then that means a determined idea must be something a little bit more, you know. Right? It's got to be something a little bit more. Because it's already in that example. Right? I'd be remiss to say that even though we're all students, everybody is in this classroom, you know, knowledge of self, it's important that we also acknowledge the superior works by those in our nation. And the most recent, those here, is definitely we have to take note of Backwoods Sweetie, the Earth Wisdom Infinite Earth, with her latest work, Ancestral Aspect, which is something I'm really going to dig into this weekend, you know. But check with the Earth, look up Backwoods Sweetie. You know what I mean? There's nothing like supplementing these teachings, though, with brilliant art, because that's what today's mathematics is to me. This is a pinpoint note in creation, wisdom, culture. The way of the culture is to bring equality, to bring a proper position of what we all are, and that only is done by creating. And the creation is brought to an equality, supplemented with the supreme alphabet. It is brought through what? The unknown. Every great creator, every master of creation is bringing things out of the unknown and has had to be comfortable in the unknown. Certainly, it's an infinite earth is very comfortable in the unknown. That's peace. I think it's not, you know, because of the era that I'm coming from, it's not really hip hop yet, right? Until there's a point of declaration, not just saying it, but a declaration against the opportunity to compromise. Doesn't mean that people aren't making hip hop and stuff. But I think one of the great moments of anyone's hip hop life of creating has to reach a point where they actually get the opposition, the opportunity to compromise, and then they don't. Everything after that becomes a little bit more hip hop. It becomes a little bit more what it's supposed to be, countercultural expressions. What it always should have been, and at his best is, and still could be. And also, obviously that happened for me many times way before I ever thought about doing a song. Happened very quickly for me, And I think that just symbolizes the nature of the determined idea, because your principles are part of the determined idea. You see? That would be a determined idea. You said, well, it's not like an idea, it's a determined idea. You gotta understand that when Yaqub made the devil, we are assuming that he meant to do devilishment. No, I don't think that. In fact, if I could say that there could be one possible error, like this is blasphemy here, right? Even though it's not, because we're analyzing 120. I do not think that Yaqub said he's going to make devil. By default, it could be devilish, but he's making a person that's unalike, because there is no guarantee that the unalike becomes devilish. There is a high probability that it does devilishment. But the absolute probability, the absolute outcome was only that it would be made weak, right? And be unalike. It could be so weak and unalike that it cannot even be an opposite of the alike. And to tell you the truth, that is what happened. Remember, that is what happened. Yaqub made something that was weak and supposed to be wicked, but it was weak and unalike, and so unalike that it was not opposite the alike. It was something totally different. And that's why they got exiled. They caused trouble amongst the righteous people, but they were not effective. See, the devils that we're talking about, though, have to be effective. They have to be effective. They cannot be ineffective. We studied that culture degree in the 1 to 14. They were highly ineffective. Someone decided to do devilishment. Let's forget about this stuff. Let's not paint a rosy picture of pre-6,000 years ago. That there was war, chaos, all of these kind of things, but it was all measured. They may have all had moments and insights that had profound understanding to it. The worst war happening as Yaqub's time happens is the beginnings of separation. As this separation is happening, he finds a way to increase the speed of the separation, and thus the chaos that could reign if separation occurred naturally amongst all of the original people throughout the world. Right? Yaqub with his big head ideas. Who knows if it was a stupid idea? Not saying it was gonna be worse without the devil, but he decided to make it a man that was unlike man. That doesn't necessarily mean that he would be the opposite of man. And when he was made, he was so ineffective that he had to be exiled to the Caucasus Mountains immediately. And they almost had to reboot him, update him. Cracker 2.0. Right? Fix that. It's Cracker 2.0. Right? Doesn't work. The devil keeps crashing. Why do you think that there's such a difficulty? There's such a problem with those that are people saying are lighter than the black, the brown, and the yellow. The difficulties of the half original, those who have a half mindset, who may have been fooled that way because of their shade. Does the determined idea happen? Exactly. This is only stuff that things that only can be pondered and built on if you don't read 120 and quote 120 like a robot quoting epic literature. You know what I mean? This isn't. Aren't epic stories. These are things to be analyzed. And to scientifically never assume you have the complete answer. Truth rules. Your existence is a determined idea. The fact that you are here is a determined idea. Okay? Determined idea is not an evil thing. Far from it. Okay? You can't think of it like that. Peace, Indigo. Equator 7, there's an interesting username. Okay. All right. Anybody in here have any questions? Please let me know. I said a lot of things that are very difficult to understand if you don't have a complete working knowledge of 120. And I love that they put these pictures in the back behind me. There are tons of these little collage things. I'm not in any of them, though. I'm here all the time. I'm not in any of these shits. I'm like Ghost Dog in here. But, that's good. That's good. All right. I got to build with the God. I got to build with a certain God. Me and him are real peace, you know what I mean? But, I can't be having people saying that Mecca be fucking up shit and everything like that. And I want people to understand now, like, when you say Mecca is not teaching right, or they taught this bullshit or that bullshit, say things that you disagree with the history, but don't say it like it's a current thing. Now, I'm going to talk to this guy because I know him. We're real peace, so, I know it's not going to be a problem. But for me, it's going to be peace, though, and right and exact if we don't talk about Mecca here as if we teaching some wrong shit. Because I'm here. If I'm teaching some wrong shit, you make your way here somehow and you confront me. If not, I don't want to hear it out of anybody's mouth about Mecca teaching this, Mecca teaching that. I don't want to hear brothers that have Medina roots. They're on the other side of the planet though, and they have Medina roots. And they want to say some shit about refinement. Understand that when I teach this knowledge of self, I teach it right and exact. But whatever I do and don't teach, I also teach the history of everything. So when I teach refinement, I don't teach it any way that anyone's ever taught it. Any type of culturing and refinement, none of that. I teach it as focus. I also teach that the power degree stands alone and can use that supplement refinement, but it isn't necessary. But it does not mean culturing. I've made that clear. I built with the elders of Medina for years. At the top of the list, Infinite Al-Jamal, who I taught this class for years. For at least a whole year, we co-taught my Peace Course class together with me. People assume a lot of shit. But I'm going to say this now. Right now, no one's going to go out there and call me an elder and then talk shit about Mecca like you're not talking about me. I waited till we're at least an hour through so I could talk my shit. And make that clear to everybody that does the knowledge here. If you're saying that we teach something wrong, though, then I expect your face to be in my face somehow. I expect your words to be directly spoken to me. Because if we're going to use a lot of bad language and use a lot of disrespectful words, though, I'd appreciate those words to be said in front of me. That way we could all have a proper exchange. See, the thing is, though, is that people disagree with things. Here's my thing. Mecca taught certain things, Medina taught certain things. I agree. I don't think refinement should be defined as culture, right? And that's why I say that refinement is, it's a cute dog that the God has here. His name is Henny. It's not a righteous name, though, but it's a dog. It's not a G-O-D. But, not used to a small dog. Firstborn Prince used to have these dogs that were bigger than me, and they were sloppy, and they were gross, and I was all bougie around them. I turned to, I was like Carlton. I was like, oh my God. You know what I mean? I'm wearing a suit, you know what I mean? But people don't really respect that both Mecca and Medina were all building sincerely. That if Medina was doing it rough and saying, this is what it is, this is what it is, they were teaching with love and they were teaching with strength that was needed where they were teaching. That's not, they get looked at in contrast of Mecca that they were, that they were getting weak and that they were teaching things that were wrong, culturing the power refinement. It's the only thing they can say, or teaching something like the greatest story never told was not a completely correct or it's not that it's wrong. It's just that it's missing things. Plus lesson about the father's history. But they're not looking. Medina never had a solidified school where they were the liaison to the outside world, through the jails, through the streets, on other levels beyond walking the street. You see what I'm saying? If you got taught in a law school in Medina, you weren't going to be given a bushful. This is when I got now. A bushful of letters written to no one in particular. And as students, we take letters from there and we answer to that. And we learn to have to represent ourselves to the outside world. We have to learn how to do that. How do we do that? You know what I mean? It wasn't doing that. They didn't take their understanding and write it out into scripts that daringly might have errors or not, and to the best of their ability, right? They weren't the ones that were saying, we're going to make this official as best as we can and take these sets of 120 math alphabets, send that into the prison so we could get this going in there properly. Because they're going to get it in there anyway. It's going to be in there anyway. People go, oh, they should have done that, throw this in there. They're going to get it in there anyway. They're getting the wrong thing. So might as well, let's write something official so we could bring it in there. Now, people don't want to see the sincerity in the daring of doing this good deed. They want to say, oh, well, it's not right and exact and this, that, and, then you're criticizing things that you would never be able to step foot in and do. I don't want to hear anything about Mecca. I don't want to hear anything about Mecca. Telling me about they messed it up and they did this. We didn't mess up shit. You know how brothers were showing and proving that power refinement shouldn't be in power? I'm going to show you how. I'm going to show you why it never worked. Yo, God, this isn't correct, though, what you're building with as far as power, refinement in the power. Look, hold on. This is what Universal Sham God said about refinement here. Wait, hold on. Let me flatten that out a little bit. There it goes. It's right there. This is the shit that they're working with. This is the sloppiness that they're working with. And we're supposed to listen to them. Because it doesn't matter what somebody... So every plus lesson is not right and exact. But the sloppy one that they keep reciting, and that if you use refinement in your mathematics, though, your child is going to be made in the womb. It's going to turn into a woman. And they're spouting off someone else's understanding, very sloppily kept. And then they tell me that we don't have it right and exact here. Because that's how you present yourself to the outside world, right? We're the true and living gods, and we present ourselves sloppy as to the outside world. And then we're the true and living gods, and you're supposed to have your own unique understanding, but all you do is quote someone else without no expounding, no understanding, no insight. Now, on the other side, many people that build with power refinement, though, are saying understandings that gross me out in how robotic and how, and yes, Mecca wrote down understandings to that mathematics, and that's how they gave it out. And so we have today's mathematics is wisdom, culture, wise words being spoken. Islam is the culture of life, all being born to the equality. I don't even know the robotic thing for equality because I don't give a shit, right? I have my own qualms though, but the last 20 years, who's here? You come through today, this decade, who's here? So you're telling me that me and Dark Kim don't make... Got my Joe Pesci on. You telling me Dark Kim isn't... You telling me Dark Kim is soft? Are you telling me that I'm... God Think about that. Think wise, think intelligently. Use supreme mathematics before you start speaking about Mecca. Speak about Mecca today. Speak about Mecca today, and I mean Mecca this century. This century. Because when you come into the classroom, that's what I'm teaching here. And I teach the whole history. I teach how I see it. I teach the rift. I teach those, how they taught it here, how they taught it there. I teach the history. I don't say they're doing it not right, exactly. Never go over there, this and that. No one from Medina will ever say that they could quote me saying that. So I got the heart of Medina because that's how I grew up. But that heart of Medina is teaching it through Mecca, and I won't stand for anyone. Anyone. If it's my brothers and I got love for them, though, and I do, then you're going to have to fix that language. Especially when a lot of people didn't get. Mecca needed to show and prove better certain things and develop, edits, rewrite, butt heads, and build to really develop it, focus it, right? The real meaning of refinement, focus that power correctly. And Medina had to get off that sloppy shit and learn how to write. Learn how to present this to the real world. The things that this nation got, a lot of them is because they presented it to the real world. And I saw elders of mine that are no longer here. Allah B, Umala, all of these people we all have disagreements with them on varying levels of some sort. But they took the best of their acumen and they presented this to the world through this. I don't want to hear any shit talking. Because my answers aren't going to be Mecca-ish. They're going to be Medina-ish. If people want to approach me like they represent Medina. All of that tough guy shit doesn't work. It's disrespecting the work that has been done here the last 20 years. When I see people learning it wrong, I don't go around and say, oh, well, like, maybe they didn't learn it from, like, Mecca. Oh, my God. Like, they could have gotten it. I think about how I could have taught it better. What can we do to teach it better, sharper, more correct, show and prove better, develop better, skillful ways of sharing it? This is my rant. I kept it at the hour mark because it's on my head, you know? All the history that people talking like they know the history, I know the history. People talking, they log on and they think like, oh wait, Sunez is talking about a song. He's talking about his mom. He's talking about this. He's not talking about this shit. It's all in there. Veer through how many degrees I go through without telling you the degree that I'm dealing with. That this classroom has changed the minute that it broadcasts to the entire world, and I teach in a way that the entire world can use it. But I won't have our own nation talk shit about Mecca. Like, if they're Medina rooted, then they got it the correct way and not the way that it's being ruined here. But let me tell you what they didn't do. They didn't have a school that they had to upkeep and take no money from anyone else. And not the kind of money where everybody all of a sudden has lots of paper and it's not from any of the things that we tell kids to do. Any of the things that we tell kids to do. Yeah, they're balling, they're doing things, they're building with the children though, with all of the monies in ways that we would never have the best part do. So you're not the best part to be telling us about what's our worst part. And I'm like this because if I see this from people that I got lots of love for, then I got to be hearing this from the people that hate Sunez, still trying to figure out what my name means, those type of people, still getting upset if I dance some salsa, still getting upset though that I could talk about music and write about music, but also make music and do whatever I want. And they're mad because it says that Allah can do anything, and they get mad when Sunez Allah is doing anything. But I'm not doing the most. I'm not out here insulting. Where all this shit should go, people wish that people teach things the way they taught it though, because they only want one type of person in this nation. Get me? You know, I like the warriors. I need the warriors. Everybody I teach, I try to make a warrior. But not everybody I teach is going to be a warrior. I teach civilized people. I teach them to be civilized, and I teach them that's the extent that you could go. There's only one me. You can't make people like you. You cannot expect it to be just like you. Forget about how many people are in this nation. Because when it all comes push to shove, though, you have to have the daring to grab their hand, the 85, and lead them in the right direction. Because there may be a point, though, where none of them can actually be it. Where we give out the knowledge to everyone in the greatest way possible to everyone in the way that they could use it. Our pedagogy is so advanced that everybody gets it the way they should. And they all realize, every last one of them, I understand. And I understand that I am not that. And I cannot be that. So then what? I just think that after all this time, though, that we have to be hearing shit like that. And I always get like this because I hear this Medina shit. I hear it, though, from people that aren't even from Medina. Every 5%er, though, shouldn't just teach 9 people. Every 5%er is really a 5%er when they teach someone that is completely unlike them. You know what I'm saying? You teach your God, teach a woman know that you have no intention of dating, and don't say I'm teaching her and it counts because she's really ugly and I don't want to do anything anyway. No. Someone sincerely, and you don't do anything. You don't have any intentions. You share unconditionally. The sacrifice of the poor righteous teacher. You teach people, you teach young men that have potential but have none of the abilities, interests, or desires that you have. Who's doing that? I thought this was for the whole world. They say that what binds us is this knowledge of self. But the only people they can teach, though, are the people that have the same 85 culture. I can teach people that don't know who Hector Lavoe is. And I can teach people that have no idea who Bernie Mac is. What are you doing? What are you doing? You teaching the world? Or are you just mad that it doesn't have, that the nation isn't the club? It isn't the club that you thought it was. It's not the club. They're all not like me. They're not doing stuff like me. They don't all do kung fu all the time. When they stop and they stand still, they rap, and then they do something else. They're not all like me. I don't like it. When they need money, they do some dirt in the street too. They're not all like me. I don't like this. I don't trust niggas like that. Let me tell you that when I got this knowledge, because I didn't have a criminal background, and yet I was good on the street, many found this to be very awkward and very off-putting and a big problem. That's their problem. And I told them that from the beginning. Right? Because the history of Sunez, a lot of people got invited behind the school as well. And I'm not doing that anymore. I shouldn't have to do that anymore. Too old to do that. I don't want to do that anymore. So stop saying young shit, young dumb shit with this knowledge. Now that God that said that, I'm going to talk to him. You know? Because I'm going to tell him like, God, you can't be dissing Mecca like that. Because when you diss Mecca, you diss me. And if you diss me, you diss yourself. Because I'm this whole nation. Just like when you're where you're at, you're the whole nation. We got to rethink the way that we talk. Right? That's some chronic shit, right? When you diss Sunez, you diss yourself. Right? You diss Sunez, you diss yourself. Let me see what I missed here because of these friends. I had to let that out. I had to say that. I am here until 8 p.m. I'm here for another half hour, so at the end of the hour. You know? I'm not even supposed to say stuff like this. I'm supposed to make a song about it. Eh? You know, we talk. I'm also, you know what I'm upset about? Upset about? I need people that talk all this shit. I don't want to hear people in our nation talk about rap ever if they're not buying my shit. No, seriously. I don't want them to talk about rap though and say they want good rap and everything like that, and they're not buying our nation's music. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear them talk about, hey, these female rappers are trash though, and they're not getting the Earth's music. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear like, yo, I wish the gods would blow up though. And these are the same people. I didn't see any post though championing Estinak. That's our God. That's our God. That's our brother. That's our brother. And he did it. Now, for me, Rome Streets is our brother too. He's got the knowledge. He's somewhat there and everything, but people don't know. He doesn't say like that. But who really is? Estinak. Estinak, that's our brother. Now Allah see King. He's not he did those records and now he's like, he don't build and supposed to be excited. These are all my problems though. But everybody want to talk about refinement though, instead of teaching it correctly. Malik, you said it's 2 flags being discussed in Born Degree. Yes, you text me this. I've been so busy catching up with things, you know what I'm saying? Because when in August especially, I have time with my daughters and everything slows down for me. So I think I may have my oldest daughter this coming week, so everything still stays slowed down, you know? And I don't care. I don't care to answer a lot of people's texts, though, especially when it's heavy like that, Malik. You know I love you, Malik. But it just slows down. I get slow. I just finally caught up to the jail letters, the prison letters I got. So hopefully I could catch up with the emails, But I felt like the prison letters, those are more important in sometimes. But is two flags being discussed in the Born degree? It's interesting, right? That's a good question, because you think like you go under the sword, like there's a flag on the upper part. There definitely ends up being two flags, the universal flag, but they don't get to rock that. They have to wear one with the sword above. So it basically be the one for them and the one that's us, So yes, in that sense, yes. Original man, you said, do you think some gods on earth make living out supreme mathematics more complicated than what it is? I don't see him living out mathematics. Isn't that my rant right now? So I guess my answer now would be no. But again, I don't do good criticizing other people. When this Thursday ends, I go home thinking about what am I going to do better? You know what I'm saying? What am I going to do better? How am I going to be more greater at what I'm doing? And you know what I mean? So I don't know, because I'm not watching people and saying, "Oh, he's like so not living out supreme math." I'm not doing that. But I won't do that either, though. And I see somebody that I know is living out this mathematics and a builder, and they're just going to be bombing other people as not the builders because they're not his lineage. And then now you just made it like we're kung fu schools. Like I'm doing Shaolin Hung Guard, Three Treasures, and he's doing some other shit, and I'm like, no, that's that other shit. You know what I mean? Nah, this isn't that. This isn't that. Harmony, you said I was speaking to another Earth not long ago, and she said that calling someone your enlightener is not proper. How do you see that, God? I would understand, like, if Earth was uncomfortable with calling someone their enlightener if they're not her God, like in a relationship like that. But enlightener, some people don't like using the word enlightener, and there was a certain time where like I'm gonna keep it real with you. Around here, there was a certain time where like some people felt like they would the reverence was too much, and I never saw it because I have a reverence for the people that taught me, and for the rest of my life, though, everyone is wrong if they call knowledge me Allah, my educator. Right? I had many educators and many teachers, but that enlightener is someone special because they went the extra mile to go through 120 with you, and they prepared me for an entire life of this. You know what I'm saying? I know that knowledge me, there's no greater title that he deserves than that. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't envision just calling him an educator. I wanted to, he deserves something to say he's a special educator to me. And there's so many of the special, you know what I'm saying? Right? Holy infinite al-Jamar, saving knowledge, Wise Jamel, Dumar Wadi, these are all very special people to me. Allah, Allah B, all of these people were very special to me, But knowledge me was special to me because he told me how to live this. He challenged me in special ways, and in many respects, I put my life in his hands so he could teach me. You know what I'm saying? And he guided me in something that was unknown, that, since that's the days, it was unknown to me. And I was willing to have him guide me through that in a special way, in a more distinct way. He's my enlightener. He enlightened that path. He held the light to that path and made me do the research. So it's a wonderful title of reverence. And I think anyone that is called an enlightener has been bestowed with a most high title, a wonderful title. People that call me their enlightener, though, I take it with great, great respect. You know what I mean? Great honor to fulfill that. People that I teach in that way and they just call me their educator, I feel no kind of way about it. It's all good. It's peace. It's how they feel comfortable. I want, you know. But the enlightener is a special word. It's our word. It's our word. You know, we came with that word. You know, so it's special to me. Truth rules. You said the part in the fourth degree and the 1 to 40. Why did Musa teach? You mean 1 to 14? Respect about them, build homes for themselves. Excellent point. I say this all the time. A whole bunch of carpenters didn't come out. A whole bunch of carpenters didn't come out of the Caucasus Mountains. You know what I'm saying? Right? And you know, they weren't all Jesus-y, you know, building homes and stuff. So what it meant was they're coming down, but they're able to actually offer something to society. Like they said, listen, we have something to offer society. Will you have us? We can support society, and we would like to be supported with society. And so they accept them. So that's why that's different. You know what I mean? That's what that means. They're able to live a respectful life as they maneuver, you know, and build homes for themselves, meaning build a life for themselves. You know? Yeah, Henny the dog is here. You know? What's the proper term then, if not enlightener? Oh, I explained that already. She said that the fact that there's no duality when it comes to your educating line, the only thing that. Yeah, that sounds gross to me. Look, I don't like any of that language here. The only thing that enlightens us is our nation's anthem. I don't even memorize that shit. I love the enlightener, the anthem, but I don't memorize it. I don't sing the enlightener and go and I'm thus enlightened and stuff. That would be a spell book, you know. And I love the enlightener though. I just don't really sing it. You know what I'm saying? That's not what that means though. That the enlightener was written though so people could see what this nation is about. You know what I mean? And your educators commission though. Listen, all of that duty stuff, like if someone's not a good teacher and they have this knowledge of self, they're not supposed to teach. Just to be clear, if they're not a good teacher and they have this knowledge of self, it is better that they not teach. So it is not anybody's duty to teach anyone. Okay? It is always the student that has to earn this knowledge of self teaching. Think of it more like every person in this world, a 5%er has the duty to teach those who are willing and able. Our duty is to teach those who are uncivilized to be what? Civilized and righteous. But that knowledge of self is something that they earn. So think of it more like a kung fu movie, though. That guy has to earn that knowledge. He has to earn the teachings you know, at the Shaolin Temple. He can't just be walking around and saying, like, listen, you got to teach me. No. You know, so all this commission stuff, you know, when the language changes, though, and it changes into some robotic stuff or like I get very turned off by it. You know what I mean? I need everyone to be in this because they are sincere to it. If this is the truth, it doesn't need anyone's help. It doesn't need to be demanded of anyone. It'll be true and it'll stay true. You realize that, right? In other words, this whole nation falls apart. Like, stop teaching, though. You know what I'm saying? They break down the building. They don't let me come in. You know, they make laws and they don't let anybody teach this and stuff like that. It's still the truth. Can't stop the truth. You know what I'm saying? So nothing has been ruined. Okay, truth. I see. You caught your error. Enlightener, illuminate. Yeah, the difference is, again, enlightener is a term of great reverence. It's that much. That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's it. I mean, you could call your old earth your mama, but when we say old earth, it means something to us. You know, when I don't even think my family understands what it means when I say old earth. You know, like Like she's the one that put those seeds in there that made me the type of person that could be able to grasp the knowledge of self, that could be ready to be myself earlier than I was. That's what a parent does. That's good. You know? And so we have these terms, you know? You don't use them though, then that's it. How many said, how many know has to give it? So, struggling part. I agree to eliminate. So I'm supposed to use both. Okay. All right. That's peace. Hourglass is dope. Malik, why don't we born consecutive days? It's 23rd and we born the 24th. I'm not sure. Can you reword that? I don't know what you mean. I don't know what you mean by that. I think it would be wonderful, um, as a symbolic gesture if Najiri kind of passed that torch to you backward, as an MC. It definitely would be logical and wonderful. Oh, original man, yeah, I had no qualms about what anybody was saying here. Um, that's peace. That's peace. You know? And that's what it's about, harmony. Like showing that reverence, that because what a lot of people don't understand though is that when you teach a lot of people think that they're all getting like the same program, and they're not. You know what I'm saying? The longer you teach this, though, the more everyone you teach though gets something more distinct, because we've seen so many things, been around so many people we taught this to, that they all get something different. You know, it isn't all just the same. You know? Hang on here. I thought I heard somebody. All right. Yeah. All right. Or do we? Okay, Malik, you said, or do we born the 12th day in Supreme Matter as we would the 13th day of the month? Um, every day gets born. I don't, right? So knowledge, wisdom would born understanding, knowledge, understanding would born culture, freedom, right? Yeah, I'm a little, I'm not sure what you're saying, Like I feel a question here, but I'm not sure. Like borning 12 and 13 together, that would be a mess though. It really wouldn't be a coherent statement, because we don't live 2 days at the same time. right? It's always in the present moment. I don't know if that's what you're saying, but I'm just musing along with what you might have been saying. All right, I will be here, and I'm going to be here for another 15, 20 minutes, though. So what do we have? What do we have? Nigeri's last album was definitely dope. You were stiff neck, rebellious, eye rolling, tooth sucking. You know, it's every student goes through their own path. You know what I mean? And sometimes more difficult than others. You know what I mean? Or they're more difficult than others. You know what I mean? I have a lot of pain in the ass students though. People don't know that they're a pain in the ass though. I don't let it show. You know. What's important though is that you remember that you were a pain in the ass and think why. Why should it change at all? That's where the development comes in. That's peace, God. They are vinyl is expensive. That is for damn sure to make, you know. I think this is the only day that I could say I didn't have a student in the classroom. I only had a dog. Right? Interesting. That's right, King. Yeah. Shit is crazy. I love that people prefer physicals and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's funny, Equator. You know, that album is one of the most influential in my writing career. Love that album. In 1999, I had quit writing in hip hop magazines, so I basically had quit hip hop. You know, because that's all I was able to do back then was be a journalist and write in, man. To be a journalist, a writer, it's the only place you could write about hip hop was in a magazine. There's like two general ways to get the vinyl. There's you buy them yourself and you sell them, right, at a deal, and you make them yourself, or you get a deal with some kind of distribution deal with some label. But those can be as predatory as anything else. So and then you don't see any royalties and stuff. You know, so it works both ways. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Peace to the God Justice, J Live. It's one of my first. J Live was one of the interviews I did in 1999. You know, if everybody ever has an issue with that, I'd love to see. Peace, God. That's peace, God. I'm about to leave soon too, God. If anybody ever has that XXL 1999, I don't know what month, Show Proof edition, they copied. I was around them and I heard them when they copied it. They said these are the names of their sections, and the I don't have a copy of it. I have no idea what I wrote for the guy. I know they messed it up though when they said he was Muslim. After we joked and said they ain't sure they don't say I'm Muslim. Man, these fucking people. Yeah, Estinak. Estinak has a long career. Long career. Long career. You know? This breakout album with Griselda is, that's why I said, like, it's a celebration, like it should be seen as such. It's a very long career, a lot of great albums, and a lot of progressive albums. If you got some of my reel of books, reel of 2022 or 21, there's a lot about Estinak in those books too. So also our righteous 5% brother as well, Al Divino. They're a tandem. They're always doing one or more songs together, so explore their catalogs, very progressive, you know. All right. Let me know if anybody has any questions about anything. Willing to answer them now. If not, then to contact me later, some other way, some other time. That's peace, Clemente. Please look forward to that. Oh my goodness, I have a solo album coming? Me, I do. Yeah, but it's super lyrical though, you know, and people be hating on the lyrical stuff. Man. You know, I got, you know, I tried. I tell him, King, I tried to come out with just jingles. You know what I mean? Just do jingles and stuff, and it's not working. You know, but you know, they're doing great. You know, they're doing great. Yeah. All right. So if anybody doesn't have any questions, I'm gonna let this bunch go. Contact me. The email. Satin jacket rep. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I said it's gonna be super lyrical, but it's gonna be smooth, right? I'm gonna be smooth, very cool, collected. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you heard both of them. Is Mantras Across the Medinas and the Unlearn. You know, people surprised about the Unlearn. I did a little bit rapping on that. You know, but until next time, okay. Contact me. Let me know everything is peace, and you know, build as best as you can. Mm-hmm. Right, dude. Let me write that down. We got Mantras Across the Medinas. Little promo here. But also the Unlearned. There's also the Unlearned. That's the new one. All right. Peace to everybody. Peace.